In this video, we'll talk about something super important for your dropshipping e-commerce store, and that is going to be branding. Let's get right to the video. Hey guys, hope you're all having a wonderful day and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeffrey and today I want to present to you and talk about a topic of how to brand your store for e-commerce and dropshipping. And this is the updated version because I made a video back then about a few months ago, but I want to go into more detail about each of them and give you more of an updated kind of a guide on how to go about branding your Shopify store. So without further ado, let's get right to the content. So before the video, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We do a giveaway for every video, so all you have to do is enter subscribe, comment down below BRANDFAM, and like the video. So we're not going to waste too much time here. Also be sure to stick until the end of the video for last video's winner. And if you're interested in consulting calls, which I'm still offering, it'll be the first link in the description and the price may go up soon. So if you want to go ahead and do that, feel free to schedule a call. Alright, so what is branding? Basically, a brand is a name, a term, a design, symbol, or kind of slogan, or anything basically that differentiates yourself from your competitors who are offering a similar service or product. So for example, Nike, Adidas, these are two really big brands for sportswear. But what differentiates themselves is the ability, their ability to brand, and even though they're different products, they're similar products. Basically, the brand is what differentiates themselves and gets their loyal customers. It's also a way to identify, one seller's goods or services as distinct from those of other sellers. So, for example, taking back the example, Nike and Adidas, even though they're selling the same products or similar products, people are still following, either buying into Nike or Adidas because they have different slogans, which we'll talk about later, different lifestyle photos and things like that. So also, two different companies, as I said, like those two, or in the photo down here, Lay's or Walker's, they could be selling the exact same product, but if they resonate with one brand over one other, they may actually choose it over their competitor. So for example, I might like Lay's more because of their story or their lifestyle or just their flavor, the ingredients. So I might go with Lay's instead, even though the product might be more expensive, and even though as well they're pretty much the same thing, they taste the same, and from the same factory. So that's what branding is basically, and why it's important. So let's go deeper into why branding. Why do you need to brand? And the reason why is because dropshipping is actually getting more competitive, and it's also one way to differentiate yourself from other people. So even though you're selling the same posture corrector, if you have a brand in place, people are actually kind of going to gravitate towards your product because you're more the authority figure compared to a random general store selling the same item. And usually good branding means you have high perceived value. When people see an item with a high perceived value, usually that means that you're able to charge them at a higher price. And that also means better margins and more profit for you for room to scale. So that's always a good thing to have when you're trying to scale your business and trying to keep more takeaway profits for your product. And at the end of the day, of course, it's also about good customer experience. If they do have a good customer experience on top of good branding, your customer return rate will actually also increase. So you're basically getting a lot of customers down your pipeline, more people to retarget to and send emails to, and to get more repeat customers, so you don't have to acquire more customers through advertisements and paid traffic. So that's also a good way to, that's also why branding is also important. And your customer also can identify your brand and story, which creates more loyal customers if you create a brand around it. So I'm sure these big stores like Nike, Movement, Adidas, they have really good stories behind them, and they have their product, their why, and why you should buy from us, things like that. That also contributes to a lot of loyal customers. So that's why branding is also really important, because you will have the repeat customer rate, and also you have loyal customers who come back and buy and who like your product. They also increase the credibility and trustworthiness of your store, on top of it being professional looking, both in terms of your customers, your potential customers, and potential collaborations. So down the line, if you're looking to expand your business, you might want to look into, collaborations with different influencers or partnerships and things like that, depending on your niche. So what's going to be important is having that credibility in place, because they're essentially putting their brand, their personal brand on the line. So if you want to have a good relationship with them, you have to have good branding. or else they won't trust you as much, and same with the customers and the other people who are following the personal brands. So you have to make sure that you have a good impression for your store, and one way to do that is to have branding and really professional looking website to really increase your credibility and your trustworthiness. And all this included, you're going to have a lot of word of mouth referrals. So you're going to have, things like, oh, have you heard of this brand? Have you heard of Movement? Have you heard of Gymshark? Have you heard of Nike? Their products look awesome. They're really durable, and their customer service is really good. Their packaging was really professional looking. So that's why you want to have branding, is because people are going to refer your brand to other people, and which is going to bring more kind of organic traffic to your store. And that's always good to have, right? Because you don't have to pay for that traffic, and you don't have to basically acquire them through paid traffic. So that is why branding is so important. The list basically just goes on for this. And if you look at all the general stores as well, most of them actually close down after a year because they don't really have good branding in place, because they really rely on just one-off customers. You see all these big general stores, even they close down because they don't have that capacity to bring kind of more customers, the return customers back, because they have usually bad reviews, bad quality, and then their ad account gets disabled, or like their customer feedback score sucks. So if you've heard of this, chances are you have from other YouTube channels. That is the reason why branding could be really important. So general stores, don't get me wrong, is really good for cash flow, but down the line you want to look into branding either from another store or from the existing store. You want to niche down. So prerequisites: you already have a product in demand, also known as a winner. This usually means you're doing 10 plus orders a day, because there's no point in branding a product if really nobody wants to buy your product, because you're just going to be spending a lot of resources and time and effort into these kind of resources that even though no one wants it, so it's just wasted time and effort. So the first way to brand is going to be the logo. You want to have a distinct logo, but at the same time you want to keep it simple. If you look at logos like Nike, Adidas, Gymshark, or even Shopify, they actually have really, really simple logos, but at the same time it's really effective, because when you see the logo, it's them immediately. So just a suggestion: you don't have to make the logo super complicated. In fact, you want to keep it really simple and really high quality as well. Preferably with not much text, because they're going to see a logo at the end of the day. The picture is what's going to speak 1,000 words, right? And you're going to use different websites like Tailor Brands. If you do that, you can use Fiverr, hire someone to do it for you, or you can just create one on Canva if you're on low budget. If you want to have more suggestions, simple Google search to do the trick. So you can just do something like make a logo online free, or online logo maker, something like that. So you can easily find logos like that. So for the placements of the logos, you should always have them appear on your homepage, and preferably on your footer pages, like your About Us, your privacy policy, your tracking order, preferably your contact us page, and things like that. It's just going to make everything more credible and more professional looking. As well, you want to have that in your packaging, which we'll talk about later on, in your thank you letter, and possibly, and if the product if possible. So if you're doing private labeling, if you're doing like a let's say posture corrector or whatever, you can put your logo on somewhere like in the package or somewhere in the product itself, right? So second way to brand is going to be customizing everything. So you can take your own photos if possible. That is actually highly preferred, especially if you're doing something that's a problem-solving product. It makes it more personal. This will make your store more consistent visually, and it should be easy if you have a one-product store. If you just have a one product revolving around like one of those hair removal pens or whatever, these popular products, it's going to be really easy. You just film yourself with your iPhone. That should do the trick. You can order the product yourself, of course, in order to take the picture or clips. It doesn't even have to be professional. Nowadays, the viral products, the required explanation is just like basically the style of augmented reality. So basically taking picture from like your point of view to make it seem like they're using the product themselves. So that's going to be really effective, and that's a golden nugget for you right there. You can also hire models in your local area if you need lifestyle photos. You don't even have to have a professional looking photo. You can hire just take pictures using your iPhone or whatever. That's usually good quality enough. I'm going to take pictures of these models wearing the item, whatever, if you're doing like fashion or whatever. And then you're going to have custom packaging and your tags with your logo on it, which brings back to the point of having your logos and having custom packaging, having everything very personalized. Okay, so third way to do it is to have social media presence. And this should be, kind of common sense to some people, but I'm just going to say it anyway, because you're going to need at least one social media page, preferably both on Instagram or on Facebook. But anyway, you're gonna have to have a Facebook anyway because you're running Facebook ads and you have to run a Facebook page, right? This is how you're gonna gain your following, whether it's organic or paid, and that's how people are going to, your potential customers or followers are going to know what your store is about, what you post, and what kind of photos they want to see for your store or your brand. So having social media presence is very important, especially on Instagram because it's very visually oriented. So if you want to have more of a following through Instagram, you want to post more lifestyle and aesthetic photos, and they don't even have to be your own photos. You can use different websites like Pexels and Splash to use kind of stock photos first, and then build your kind of portfolio up from there. Okay, so the third one is going to be social media presence, really important. So Instagram, Facebook, maybe even Twitter or Pinterest. So the fourth way is having a unique name. So if you look at all the big stores like Walmart, Nike, Adidas, Shopify, Zara, and other stores of the likes, most of them actually have really unique names and they're made ups. None of them actually have the word trendy in it or gadget or deals, things like that, because it's just going to deteriorate or kind of cheapen their brand. So you want to focus on made up words, neologisms, and just basically be more creative with the terms. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. Preferably you want to keep it at 2 to 3 syllables. Nike, Shopify, 3 syllables. Zara, very straightforward. So that's what you want to focus on. If a name sounds similar to others, people actually might get confused with another brand, so it's not that good if you want to use deals and whatever, those other names that are not unique. So especially if they're in the same niche, so you want to keep it unique and keep it very kind of personalized and for your own as well. So fifth way to brand is going to be slogan / catchphrase. If you hear of these terms, just do it because you're worth it. L'Oreal, of course, if you don't already notice. I'm loving it. It's finger licking good. Just from reading these slogans, you already know which brands they're from. KFC, McDonald's, Nike, L'Oreal, as I mentioned. So you can identify your brand very, very easily just by these slogans, especially if you're just, you're gaining traction. Even for Gymshark, a relatively new e-commerce brand, which is doing like 8 figures, 9-figure business, in revenue. They have their own slogan as well. Be a visionary. I used to like their items, so that's why I know. So I'm sure you've heard of at least one of these slogans before, and the reason why is because they have good branding. So it's really memorable, and you can really identify the brand easier just from listening to these slogans. So down the line, you want to have a slogan in place or a catchphrase that really attracts people's attention, which is going to associate that slogan with your brand. So better brand equity, better brandability as well. So the sixth way and final way is going to be your story. So what are you about? What do you do? What is your mission? Basically, you want to have your story. As well, what do you want to achieve through your product or your service? What does your product do? What do you want them to do with it? And what was the story behind making the store, making these products? These origin stories can be really inspirational, and sometimes they can actually relate to you if your story is really personalized. From upbringing or like what you noticed. Maybe even what your problem was before, and how your store or your service can actually solve that problem or alleviate that problem, which could be really useful. So for example, if you have an interest for bikes, you realize that there aren't a lot of bike stores selling this particular type of gear, or maybe it could be in terms of price or like in terms of the functionality, things like that. So you want to kind of explain that in your story, and that will really help you with your branding as well. I'm just going to keep it as 6 tips for now, just to prevent it from being too long. But today's store giveaway, call giveaway, is going to be 𝗘-𝗰𝗃𝗃. Sorry if I mentioned that, pronounced it wrong. But if you want to be the next video's giveaway, basically you just have to do everything in the second slide, and you'll be entered to win, which is basically this one. Subscribe, comment down below, and like the video. And if you want, join the Facebook group, which is going to be down below in the description as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll leave you guys to this video, and see you in the next one.